And I think you already heard some of the astronauts seem very excited about this. All of our 3 inductees flew upon Atlantis, or flew in Atlantis. But Atlantis will be displayed looking like she's in space, 150 yards, just departed from the International Space Station. So really seen as only the astronauts have seen Atlantis. She's been lifted up 30 feet in the air, tilted at so that she'll appear to be at a 43.21 degree angle, which we got some people who understood that. All right, and then payload bay doors open. Then also a Canadarm will be a part of this display as well. Behind Atlantis, and you'll see this when we go inside, is a really cool high-def screen that is going to show a continuing shot of that's throwing me off. A continuing shot of Andrea. No, of scenes from space. But this initial one, when you come out of the show, you'll see more of this sunrise over Earth happening, and then this will evolve. You'll see satellites flowing through, so it will continue to move. And inside, when we go in, you'll see working lights, but on opening day, it will be more theatrical lights, so really highlighting Atlantis and showing all of the best qualities. It's a multi-level viewing. I wanted to also speak a little bit once you're inside. It's telling the story of the International Space Station as well as the Hubble Space Telescope, 2 of the big success stories of the Space Shuttle program. In here you can see Atlantis again, and nearby is a full-scale model of the Hubble Space Telescope. It is going to be suspended from the ceiling and the size of a small bus. On the lower level it will be about 10 feet up and will also continue to the upper level. So amazing viewing of the Hubble Space Telescope. There will be a Hubble Theater where you can see amazing imagery from the Hubble Space Telescope and all kinds of things to do on this floor. And you start to get this sense of the lighting and the kind of atmosphere it's going to create. You might, in fact, feel like you're in space because that's what we're trying to create. The floor is black. The ceiling is black. We've taken a lot of care into how all of this will happen. Downstairs there all total there are more than 60 interactive exhibits and simulators. So that's a little bit on that. And then I want a little bit on the outside, and we'll head out on our tour. The outside, as you can see, we've got solid rocket boosters coming, and soon an external tank to be created. On the other side of the building, as you were driving in, you should have seen this. It's this orange swish. That is to represent the fiery re-entry of the shuttle coming back to Earth. And you'll also notice gray and black sections along it. Looks reminiscent of tiles, the heat tiles. And on the corner here, you can't really see it here, but it looks like the edge of a wing, to represent the RCC, the reinforced carbon-carbon.
I can see right there.
Yeah.
Pardon?
The dresses are from what era?
Well, heck, it's springtime. It's a springtime opening, so anyway.
So is that the corner there?
It's the far corner, yes. Reinforced carbon-carbon. So we're going to take a walk over. You'll see on the SRBs that the last section that we're going to complete is the aft skirt, and that's because we're using those as an entry point to go up and work inside as we secure each section. We've got the nose cone to go on the west side SRB, and then a third segment, and then the nose cone that'll be installed. Hopefully the nose cones go in next week.
Are any flown sections?
No, these are all made specially.
Right. High fidelity.
High fidelity, and they were made by Penwall in California. They do this type of thing. They're supported by, I think it's 54 pieces of rebar that go deep, like 50 feet into the ground on each section of the solid rocket booster. And that is to secure it, and as far as hurricane proofing, the whole building is hurricane proof, and everything can withstand a Category 3 hurricane. So, and for the ET and the SRB segments, that's really important. What we're looking at there is providing a very secure structure so that there's no twisting, because that's what can happen here on the East Coast. Here's all those winds coming.
Who's bored with that now?
Sunshine comes in.
Okay, front through, stop walking. Everybody else will get something.
Come in 4 sections. We'll actually make more of a stick construction. As you can see down below, you're seeing what we call stick construction. So the 2 middle sections of the external tank will be constructed here first. Then we have the prefabricated top and bottom. The top will go on first, bottom on last.
Why do you have to steal this? This doesn't want to do video.
Pardon? Yeah. Sure. Okay. Bottom of it's 124 feet tall, so walking underneath, the idea is to create, you're seeing this icon right off the bat, that it's already preparing you for what you're about to see, Atlantis, the most amazing icon. The top of the external tank will reach 184 feet high, so we are changing the skyline here at Kennedy Space Center. And it's a very cool view from, guests will walk in and then they will take this ramp up. We're not able to walk in this area today, but take this ramp up and they'll overlook the external tank and solid rocket booster. And then in the distance, they will also see the rocket garden. So a neat view there. All right, we're gonna...
New shuttle smell. The new shuttle smell.
We're making it.
Because we keep seeing that one park.
That's the old
by the
one.
science park.
It's not hurricane proof for the positioning that we're going to have. And this, I mentioned where the Hubble Space Telescope is going to go. Right here.
Right in here.
Yes. Hubble Screen and Hubble Theater behind us.
The Galileo mock-up, where's that going to be at? Galileo spacecraft?
That was that thing hanging upside down, looks like an umbrella.
Then it's going to be somewhere over in here. I know. It'll be up and...
Sorry, didn't mean it.
No, that's okay. That's not part of my shtick yet. I take this in layers. So here you do see Atlantis. This is 16,000 square feet of plastic wrap, if you will.
Wow. Now, is this any kind of plastic wrap that we might be familiar with, like in some other sense?
On a boat, yacht, for transportation.
Shrink wrap.
Yeah. And if we shrink wrapped on.
Boat wrap.
We have sensors inside that are measuring the humidity and checking. Let's how about everybody go up this way first? So we lovingly call those orbs. They're actually blue, but covered in black. Now, with the payload bay door opening, we have modified strongbacks on the payload bay doors. We've got C-clamps to attach to those strongbacks, and we will suspend we will have connections to the ceiling to suspend the payload doors. It'll hook and be supported from the ceiling. What you're hearing is the shuttle launch experience. This used to be Shuttle Plaza, and Shuttle Launch Experience still exists. We've changed the entry around for now, but it will be the entry once Atlantis opens will be from inside this building.
So the two will be tied together. They're basically,
Yes.
That's
Isn't it great?
That's a good idea.
It makes sense. It does make sense. And also note that the views of Atlantis are amazing, and you'll see shortly how close you can get at certain times. It's just remarkable to be this close to an orbiter and to be able to look at one as if it's in flight. That big video monitor that I mentioned is in the back, very high def. And we're showing imagery that most people haven't seen before. So it's some stuff that's been shot especially for this project.
I know you're going to be herding people around, so I'd like to get people there so I can show the scale, how close they're able to get.
Sure.
Sure.
I need to keep people somewhat together because...
There was mention at one point of using iPads to
visualize inside the shuttle?
It's augmented reality. There will be a few stations here where you'll see the shuttle be able to press, and it will peel away the outside of the shuttle orbiter, and you'll be able to see inside the cockpit or see inside the flight deck.
They'll be fixed. They won't be something that's not, you're not moving it around.
You're not moving it around. It's fixed, but you can move it. And once you're in the cockpit, you can do a 180. Isn't that cool?
Are you serious?
What? Priceless artifact. Helps us to conserve Mother Earth.
This is why we have Jeffrey on team. He's a consultant.
And we'll take a look, and I'll speak a little bit more about what's going on down below.
Did they keep the cargo bay doors on?
No, the payload bay doors right now are closed. We've got modified strongbacks on there, and those are what we're going to open.
That's what's giving it that extra lift right there.
That's
That's what, because
Andrew, if you're going to be using a replica of the Canadarm, what's going to happen with what's happened with Atlantis? Atlantis have a Canadarm in it?
I believe it did, and I think someone in Canada got it.
Canadarm, okay.
The engines have been changed as well. Those are not the real
RSMEs,
engines.
right.
But that's okay. It lightened Atlantis, and that was all right for what we were trying to do here. Okay. We can move on down if folks want. Here is the shelf for high def, or high fidelity, I should say, cockpit photo opportunity, if you will.
Comes off. Was there a
We had to
point in
get the
construction?
building to a certain point, yes,
and
so
then-
that we knew that we've been cleaning the walls and getting the dust down, painting we built the walls, painting the walls, the floor down below. It's this certain type of concrete that's been polished 5 times to give it a very high gloss finish. So that you got a lot of dust that's generated just from the construction process. So we've had to get to this point, and now we're cleaning. We can take that up, and we know we've got a month to get the payload bay doors open. There's a lot of stuff that starts happening now. Every day there's something. It's remarkable how quickly this building's come together. But there will be the graphics installation, the interactive exhibits. The Hubble model is going to take quite a while to assemble and put together. So, cool. Thanks. So we're going to take a quick peek on the there's an inkling of that floor right here. So we've got it protected. But that's, something.
Oh, that's beautiful.
If your railing were right there and how close you are to the engine valve.
Wow.
And as you're walking around, you get all these amazing and interesting and different views of Atlanta. You might have.
It would take a lot of...
So the support structures you see here, when we moved Atlantis in on November 2nd, we started the lifting process, moved the OTS out that transported the shuttle over. Then we got Atlantis to a certain height and put these beams in and attached them to what was already being used as an attachment point for the external tank or a ride on the 747. So we haven't done anything to change Atlantis. Once we were lifted and tilted, those beams were much longer, and we shortened them up. Those are going to be painted this midnight blue color, and we did have some. I wish I'd known that. You can also see down here the beanie cap from 39B is here. So artifacts will be, that's the original one. And if you saw in the lobby, you may have noticed what looked like a slide, and then the beanie cap next to it, and it has this way of displaying the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen molecules on the floor. They can be kicked around and moved, and the idea is the kids can create enough friction there, or it's bringing those liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen molecules together to create a launch. So they're learning about science and technology, engineering and mathematics in a really fun, cool way. And it's throughout the exhibit.
Is it going to be
just one direction? People come in and they follow a flow through, or is it?
No,
maybe
it's,
free
they'll
flow?
come in from a show, and then from there, it's up to them how they want to move around.
Okay.
The International Space Station Gallery will be down below us. You're seeing the edge of that. You'll be able to see where the ISS is, what's going on in the mission at the time. On the upper level, we will have a screen that shows and it's an interactive screen where you can learn about each of the 135 space shuttle missions. You can touch on it, find out about the mission, the astronauts, payload. You can learn about each individual astronaut, so it'll go in depth. So it's for someone who wants to learn a little. There are plenty of beautiful pictures and graphics. For those who want to go in depth, you just start looking more closely and you'll see more and more information. We have some STEM facts that are going to be called out, some space geek facts that are called out. And it's, you know, this experience could be an hour, it could be several hours, depending again on what your interest level is and how in depth you want to go. We will tell the story.
Sort of like
And
the
it's
exit of the old shuttle attraction, where if you wanted to read about every mission, is it similar to that?
From which attraction? I'm sorry.
The one here.
I don't know that we had anything that addressed each and every shuttle mission.
You had each of the little plaques for each of the mission that went down to.
Oh, that's part of shuttle launch experience.
what I
I'm
meant.
sorry,
That's what I meant.
which is still here.
Correct.
So we've taken that plaque concept and taken it
A step farther.
way farther. But this is not only about and the thing is about this too, is that it's about the 30-year space shuttle program, but it's also about the benefits of the space shuttle program. You've got Hubble, International Space Station. From here, speaking of International Space Station, we'll have these circular tubes. They're clear, and kids and adults will be able to crawl out in them, and it gives them a feeling of, whoa, I'm somewhere cool, and reminiscent of the International Space Station. It'll actually take them out from this level, and they can look down into the International Space Station Gallery. There we'll have a full-scale mock-up of a module from the International Space Station. Also sprinkled throughout is a lot of information about the processing that took place here at Kennedy Space Center, from landing to launching. And as well, it's a tribute to the future of space exploration. From each program, we learn more and more, and through Atlantis and through Space Shuttle Atlantis, we'll be able to tell that story.
Andrea, how would you compare this with other attractions that you have at the visitor complex, such as the Saturn V Center, some of the other centers that are closer, say like the Rocket Garden? I mean, can you contrast that for like the Saturn V Center to this? What's the difference in the level? I mean, there's obviously a few years in between the two, but help us out there.
Right, Apollo Saturn V Center opened in late 1997. Great tribute to the Apollo moon program. And now you look at when it was created back in 1997, and now we're decades beyond that. We've got kids that are here today that have grown up on the Space Shuttle program that didn't grow up on the Apollo program. So now you look at the purpose of that Apollo Saturn V Center, and it's telling that story, and today still telling it very well in a very compelling way, using the first Apollo 8 mission to go around the moon as the main show there, and from that you see the amazing Saturn V rocket, one of 3 existing rockets. You can also go into the Lunar Theater and learn about that Apollo 11 mission and that harrowing journey to the surface of the moon for the first time. There are a lot of interactives there with astronaut conversations. So for that day and age when that was created, great, and still continues to be the most popular attraction here at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Space Shuttle Atlantis, because of the technology that we have available now, is just going to take that level of storytelling to a different level, if you will. There's so much more in terms of interactives that are available now that weren't available at the creation of the Apollo Saturn V Center. So we're just taking advantage of all that technology and making it into something very special for people of all ages.
You've done this before. Yeah, I know how intimidating one of these can be.
Okay, it is. So the facility is $100 million or so. And by the way, this all belongs to NASA, not to Delaware North Companies that operates the visitor complex on behalf of NASA. It is created with funds that are a result of admissions, foods, and retail. So no tax dollars are involved in the creation of the exhibit or the interactives.
Now, will this be the permanent position of the beanie cap?
Yes, that is it. And Atlantis is still dirty. We wanted her that way. You could get her cleaned up. We said, no, we want to show the effects of space flight on the tiles. And you can see those nicks and... dirt. It is, it
Yeah.
is.
I haven't heard if they cut it down to a 1 hour window yet.
I can tell you, that was